When temperatures drop below freezing, most of us just turn up the thermostat and grab an extra blanket. For people experiencing homelessness, winter isn't just uncomfortable, it's a life-or-death battle that lasts for months. David, a veteran who'd survived for winters on the streets of Chicago, once told me while huddled over a makeshift fire barrel, "Your body starts shutting down when it gets cold enough. First your fingers and toes go numb, then your thinking gets foggy, and then you just want to sleep. That sleep is death, and you have to fight it every single night." He wasn't being dramatic. Statistics show that over 700 homeless people die from hypothermia in the United States each year, and that's just the reported deaths. The actual number is probably much higher because many bodies aren't found until spring thaw, if they're found at all. That is hundreds of people who froze to death while the rest of us were complaining about our heating bills. I spent 2 brutal winters documenting how homeless individuals survive the cold, following them to their sleeping spots, learning their warming techniques, and understanding the constant calculations they make between safety and warmth. What I discovered was a sophisticated survival system built on layering, location strategy, community cooperation, and sheer stubborn refusal to freeze. These folks have become Arctic survival experts out of pure necessity, turning garbage into insulation, finding heat in places most people never notice, and keeping their bodies functioning in temperatures that would send anyone else running for shelter. Trust me, after seeing what some people endure and overcome in sub-zero weather, I'll never take my heated apartment for granted again. The ingenuity isn't just about staying warm, it's about staying alive when every night could be your last. Let's start with the most fundamental survival strategy, something so basic yet so crucial that every homeless person living through winter becomes an expert in it. Because layering clothing isn't just a fashion choice when you're on the streets, it's the difference between seeing tomorrow's sunrise and becoming another winter's totality statistic. Layering pants is just as important as layering tops. Long underwear or leggings under jeans or cargo pants, maybe with another pair of sweatpants over everything. "I wear 3 layers on my legs in the coldest months," Marcus said. Synthetic leggings, regular pants, then sweatpants over those. Makes walking awkward, like I'm wearing a diaper, but my legs stay warm and that's what matters. Socks are critical because frostbite hits your extremities first. Multiple pairs of socks create insulation, but too many can cut off circulation and actually make your feet colder. The trick is 2 or 3 pairs max, and make sure your shoes still fit properly. "I wear 2 pairs of wool socks when I can get them," one woman explained. "Wool stays warm even when wet, which is crucial because my shoes leak and my feet are constantly damp in winter." Hand coverage requires gloves or mittens, but many homeless people can't afford them, or they get lost or stolen. Socks become improvised mittens, surprisingly effective and free if you can find them. "I cut the toes off old socks and wear them as fingerless gloves," David demonstrated. "Keeps my hands warm while still letting me use my fingers for tasks." Regular gloves are better, but sock gloves are better than nothing. Head coverage is crucial because you lose up to 40% of your body heat through your head and neck. Hats, scarves, hoods, anything that covers your head helps dramatically. "I layered to hats in the worst cold," Rachel said, adjusting her layers. "A thin synthetic one underneath, then a thicker one over it. Covers my ears completely, which is important because frostbitten ears are apparently a thing and extremely painful. The scarf or neck covering prevents heat from escaping through the gap between your jacket and hat. Your neck is a highway for heat loss," Jennifer explained, wrapping a tattered scarf around her neck multiple times. "Blot that gap and you stay significantly warmer." "I've used old t-shirts as scarves when I didn't have a real one." Cut a long strip of fabric, wrap it around your neck, instant warmth, but layering has practical limits. You can only wear so many layers before movement becomes impossible and you start sweating, which is dangerous. "Sweat makes you wet makes you cold, cold can kill you," Marcus summarized. You have to find the balance where you're warm enough, but not so bundled you're sweating. "I adjust my layers throughout the day, adding and removing based on activity level and temperature. The weight of multiple layers becomes exhausting to carry when you're walking all day. Everything I own, I'm wearing in winter, one man explained. Probably 20 pounds of clothing on my body. Makes me slow and tired, but I can't risk leaving layers somewhere and not having them when I need them. My whole wardrobe is literally on my back. Keeping layers dry is an ongoing challenge. Snow, rain, even humid air can dampen clothing, destroying its insulating properties. Plastic bags become essential for protecting layers. I keep my extra layers in plastic bags to keep them dry, Rachel said, showing me her system. The layers I'm wearing might get damp, but at least I have dry backup clothes to change into if I can find a private spot. But even the best layering system can't protect you if you're sleeping in the wrong place. Location is everything in winter survival, which brings us to the crucial question of where to sleep when every degree matters. Because finding the right spot to spend the night isn't just about comfort or safety anymore. It's about finding enough warmth to survive until morning. Heating vents from buildings become prime real estate in winter. Office buildings, restaurants, laundromats, any business with heating systems vents warm air outside. People map these locations and guard them jealously. There's a vent behind the Chinese restaurant that blows hot air constantly, David explained. I've slept there dozens of nights, probably the warmest spot in the city. But it's also contested territory. If you don't get there early, someone else claims it, and there's an unspoken first-come, first-served rule we all respect mostly. Subway grates in cities with underground trains blow warm air from below. The classic image of a homeless person sleeping on a subway grate exists because those spots can be 20 to 30 degrees warmer than the surrounding sidewalk. The grate on 5th Street is like sleeping on a radiator, Jennifer shared. The air coming up is heated from the subway system below. Only problem is it's public, exposed, and cops sometimes make you move. But when it's 10 degrees out, you deal with the harassment for the warmth. Underground areas like parking garages stay warmer than the street because the concrete retains heat and the structure blocks wind. The upper levels of parking garages are colder, but less likely to have security. The lower levels are warmer, but security patrols them more. I sleep on the 3rd level of the parking garage when I can, Marcus said. Warm enough to survive, high enough that security doesn't bother checking. Found a corner behind a concrete pillar where I'm basically invisible. Hospitals and their surrounding areas offer several warm spots. Emergency room waiting areas are heated and theoretically open 24 hours, though staying there all night without being a patient will eventually get you kicked out. The loading docks behind hospitals often have heat from the building and less security attention. I've slept near the hospital loading area multiple times, one woman shared. The heat exhaust from the building keeps that whole area above freezing even when it's Arctic everywhere else. Libraries during operating hours provide warmth and shelter, and many have lenient policies about homeless individuals using the space. You can spend an entire winter day in the library, warming up and resting. When the library closes at night, you have to leave, but at least you've stayed warm during the daylight hours. Libraries have saved my life every winter, Rachel said. I spend every day there when it's really cold, reading, warming up, using the bathroom. They tolerate homeless people as long as you're respectful and quiet. Churches and religious institutions sometimes allow people to sleep in entryways or on church grounds. Some churches run winter emergency shelters when temperatures drop below certain thresholds. The church on Maple Street lets us sleep in their covered entryway when it's below 20 degrees, David explained. It's not warm exactly, but it's warmer than the open street and it blocks wind. They also put out blankets and hot coffee in the morning. That compassion has kept several of us alive through brutal cold snaps. Abandoned buildings provide shelter from wind and precipitation, but come with serious risks. They might be structurally unsound. They're often where drug activity happens, and police raid them. But in extreme cold, the risk calculation changes. I've slept in abandoned buildings during the worst cold, Marcus admitted. It's dangerous, you're trespassing, could get arrested or worse. But when it's literally freeze to death cold outside, an abandoned building with fur walls and a roof becomes worth the risks. Natural windbreaks like dense bushes, under bridges, or in parks with tree cover provide minimal protection, but it's better than nothing. Finding a spot where trees or buildings block the wind can make a huge difference. I sleep in a little alcove created by 3 buildings meeting, Jennifer described. The buildings block wind from every direction, creating a microclimate that's maybe 5 degrees warmer. Doesn't sound like much, but those 5 degrees matter when you're borderline hypothermic. Sharing sleeping spaces and body heat is common practice during extreme cold. Multiple people sleeping close together, sharing blankets and tarps, creates collective warmth. We huddle, one man said simply. 4 or 5 of us under a bridge, sleeping close, sharing whatever blankets and sleeping bags we have, sharing body heat is survival. Yeah, it's uncomfortable sleeping pressed against strangers, but it's better than dying alone. But even a good location won't save you without proper insulation from the cold ground. The ground sucks heat from your body faster than the air does, which brings us to one of the most crucial yet overlooked aspects of winter survival. Because what you sleep on matters even more than what you sleep under, and cardboard has become the poor man's mattress for very good reasons. Cardboard is miraculous insulation against cold ground. The corrugated structure creates air pockets that prevent your body heat from being conducted into the frozen earth. A single layer of cardboard between you and the ground can be the difference between hypothermia and survival. Cardboard is non-negotiable in winter, Rachel emphasized. I'd rather have cardboard and no blanket than a blanket and no cardboard. The ground steals your heat so fast that you'll freeze from below before you freeze from above. Finding good cardboard requires knowing where to look. Dumpsters behind furniture stores, appliance stores, anywhere that receives large shipments. Big flat pieces are best because they cover more area and provide better insulation. I've got spots mapped out where I know I can find good cardboard, David explained. The furniture store tosses huge pieces every Thursday after deliveries. I'm there Thursday night collecting the best pieces before anyone else gets them. Quality cardboard is valuable currency in winter. Layering cardboard multiplies its insulation value. Multiple layers with air gaps between them create even more insulation. I use at least 3 layers of cardboard, Marcus demonstrated, showing his setup. Bottom layer is the biggest pieces I can find, creating a full mattress. Second layer fills in gaps and adds thickness. Third layer goes on top and creates air space between the layers. It's my cardboard sandwich, and it's kept me alive through Chicago winters. Waterproofing cardboard is essential because wet cardboard loses all insulating value. Plastic tarps or garbage bags under and over the cardboard keep it dry. I wrap my cardboard in plastic like I'm gift wrapping it, Jennifer explained. Plastic bag on bottom to keep ground moisture from soaking up. Cardboard layers in the middle, another plastic layer on top to keep rain and snow off. The plastic also helps hold the cardboard together. Strategic cardboard placement means covering everywhere your body touches the ground. Just having cardboard under your torso isn't enough if your legs are on frozen concrete. Your whole body needs insulation, one woman stressed. I make a full body-length cardboard mattress, thick everywhere, no gaps. Any part of you touching cold ground directly will pull heat from your whole body. But cardboard and location still might not be enough without additional insulation. That's where blankets, sleeping bags, and improvised bedding come into play. Because staying warm at night requires creating a microclimate around your body, and every material adds to that crucial thermal barrier between you and death. Sleeping bags are the ideal solution, but expensive and often stolen. A good winter sleeping bag costs $100 or more, impossible for most homeless budgets. When I had a sleeping bag, it was stolen within a week, Marcus said bitterly. Too valuable, too visible, too easy to steal, Now I don't even try to get one. I use blankets that are less desirable to thieves. Libraries, malls, and other public spaces become warming stations during the day. You can spend hours inside staying warm without having to spend money in most places. During the day, I rotate through different warming spots, Rachel described. Library from 9 to 12. Coffee shop where I buy one cheap coffee and nurse it for an hour. Back to the library, then the mall. Staying warm during the day conserves the energy I need to survive the night. Soup kitchens and shelters provide warm meals that heat you from the inside. Hot food and drinks raise your core temperature. A bowl of hot soup does more than fill your stomach, it warms your core, one man explained. I time my meals to eat hot food right before I have to go out into the cold for the night. That internal warmth gives me a head start on staying warm. Day shelters exist in some cities specifically for warming during the day, though capacity is limited. The day shelter opens at 8 a.m. and you can stay until 4 p.m., Marcus said. It's warm, there's coffee, you can rest. Hundreds of people trying to get in though, and they turn people away when they hit capacity. If you don't get there early, you're out of luck. Coffee shops and fast food restaurants tolerate homeless people sometimes if you buy something small. A $1 coffee buys you maybe an hour of warmth inside, Jennifer calculated. It's expensive if you think about it, paying $1 an hour for warmth, but cheaper than dying. I stretch one coffee as long as possible, refilling the cup with water or sitting in the bathroom until they kick me out. Community warming centers open when temperatures drop to dangerous levels, providing emergency shelter. When it hits below 10 degrees, the city opens warming centers, David explained. Churches, community centers, anywhere with heat and space. It's crowded, uncomfortable, sometimes unsafe, but it's warm and it's free. Those warming centers have prevented mass deaths during cold snaps. But even with all these strategies, winter is still deadly. The constant cold wears you down physically and mentally. Frostbite, hypothermia, exhaustion, illness all accumulate over months of exposure. Every winter I survive feels like a miracle, Marcus said quietly. I've lost friends to the cold, people who just didn't wake up one morning. You fight every single day to stay warm enough to keep living, and it's exhausting. The cold gets inside you, into your bones, into your mind. You start wondering if it's worth fighting anymore. The community support during winter intensifies because everyone understands the stakes. People share warming strategies, locations, supplies, and most importantly, check on each other. We do wellness checks on the regular folks we know, Jennifer explained. If someone doesn't show up at their usual spot, we go looking. Found more than one person in early hypothermia, got them to warmth before it was too late. We're all we've got, so we watch out for each other. The psychological toll of constant cold affects mental health as much as physical health. The stress, the fear, the discomfort, the knowledge that you might not survive the season. Winter is when despair really sets in, Rachel admitted. In summer you're uncomfortable, but probably won't die. In winter, death is always right there, waiting for you to get too tired or too cold to fight back. That knowledge wears on you every day for months. But despite everything, despite the brutal cold and the constant danger and the exhaustion, homeless people survive winter. Through ingenuity, preparation, community, and sheer stubborn determination not to become a statistic. The strategies they've developed, the systems they've built, the knowledge they've accumulated, all of it proves that the human will to survive is stronger than even the worst winter can throw at it. As David told me on a bitter January night, sitting in his carefully constructed cardboard shelter with his multiple layers of clothing and blankets, a hot water bottle pressed against his chest. Every morning I wake up when it's this cold. I'm surprised and grateful. Surviving winter homeless isn't about being comfortable. It's about being smart, prepared, and lucky enough to make it to spring. I've made it through for winters now, each one harder than the last. But I'm still here, still fighting, still refusing to let the cold win. Because giving up means dying, and I'm not ready to die yet. So I'll keep layering, keep moving, keep finding warm spots, and keep making it through one more frozen night.